Hello, mathematicians. Okay, so today we're actually on our last day of our packet, 19 of 19. We're on day 14 and we are factoring completely. So basically what we're doing is what we've done since Monday. It'll be a little bit of everything. So it'll be all three factoring methods. So you always want to start with the GCF. If there is one, pull it out in front and see if you can factor it some more. If there are two terms, you might want to try the factoring method of dots, difference of two perfect squares. Or if it's three terms, then you can do the Xbox method because you'll be working with trinomials. Keep trying to factor until you can't factor no more, okay? So today we're going to look at questions 7 and 8. Okay, great. So they're word problems. 7, 8 we're looking at. So I'm going to read this twice. The first time I'm going to read it, I'm not going to do any annotations. So it says the area of the rectangle is represented by 4x squared minus 8x. What are the dimensions of the rectangle? All right, I'm going to read it again. And I don't have a highlighter on this. At least I don't. No, I don't. Okay, so I'm just going to underline some important facts. If the area of the triangle is represented by 4x squared minus 8x, what are the dimensions of the rectangle? All right, this is my question that they're asking me. So I always want to start with a picture. So here's my rectangle. And they're telling me that the area of this is 4x squared minus 8x. Okay, if they're asking for the dimensions, I guess they're trying to see what are the factors really, because we know that area is rendered by length times width, which essentially could be our two factors. So I'm going to factor this as much as I can. So I'm going to rewrite it, 4x squared minus 8x. The first thing I'm going to check for is their GCF. Well, yes. I'm going to write over here. GCF would be, 4 and 8 have 4 in common, and x squared and x have x in common. So that's actually what I'm going to be dividing both of these terms by. And we will get 4x, and 4x squared divided by 4x will leave us with x. Bring down my operation. And 8x divided by 4x will leave me with 2. So I could say, let's see if I can write small. The dimensions of the rectangle are 4x and x plus 2. Okay, that's quite sloppy. All right, I'll make a note in the video. Okay. Now let's look at number 8. It says the volume of a rectangle prism is represented by the expression 5x squared plus 5x minus 30. Find the possible dimensions of the rectangle prism. All right, now I'm going to read it again. The volume of a rectangle prism is represented by the expression 5x squared plus 5x minus 30. And they say find the possible dimensions of the rectangle prism. So here, if they're asking me for the dimensions, just like above, they're probably asking me for the factors. What factors, when I multiply them together, is going to give me the expression of, write it again, 5x squared plus 5x minus 30. All right, so I'm going to go to my factoring methods, and the first thing I'm going to ask is, does this have a GCF? 5x squared plus 5x minus 30. The GCF here would be 5. So I'm going to divide everything by 5. And I'm going to be left with 5. I'll pull it out. So 5x squared divided by 5 will be 5x, will be x squared. 5x divided by 5 will leave us with x. And negative 30 divided by 5 would be negative 6. Just going to bring this over here. So now we have 5 x squared plus x minus 6. Well, I see I'm working with a trinomial. So I'm going to do the Xbox method. And as the Xbox method says, I take A and C and multiply them together, which will give me negative 6. And I would take the B, which is 1 here. And two factors that when I multiply them together, they give me negative 6, but when I add them together, they give me 1. So I know at least one of them is going to be negative. And when I'm looking at this, two numbers that multiply to negative 6 but give me 1 would be 3 and negative 2. 3 times negative 2 will give me negative 6, but 3 minus 2 will give me 1. All right, so that's what I'm going to put back in. I'm going to keep the 5 outside. I have x squared plus 3x minus 2x minus 6. Okay. Then I'll put my parentheses. And then I would have 5. And then the greatest common factor would be x squared, and 3x would be x. So I'm going to pull that out. And I'm left with x plus 3. And here the greatest common factor of negative 2x minus 6 would be negative 2. And I'm left with x plus 3. And I notice that my parentheses are the same. And I don't have enough room. So I'm just going to move it up here, okay? So I have 5x. I'm just moving it up so you girls could see. Okay, and since these are the same, that means I can bring x and negative 2 together for the properties of multiplication. And I will have 5 times x minus 2 times x plus 3. Okay, in volume, I know I'm going to have 3 terms. So these are my 3 terms right here. And I could put this in a sentence. And I could say the dimensions are 5x, x minus 2, and x plus 3. Okay, thank you, ladies.